Good evening, Gooners. Welcome to Cannon Fodder TV. This is the big Sunday show. I'm Paul the Bray, and joining me again is Richard. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Yeah, all set and settled in, so good to go.
Yeah, nice. So been a good weekend for us, I think. Certainly with the City result. Um, yeah, goes to show, doesn't it? It's no game's easy, and
No, no.
these games that we've played early in the season, where it's only this team or it's only that team, that you got to beat them, and yeah, it's look top of the league, 5 points clear, going into Christmas, and yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see it, isn't it? Just in general, just being there, challenging now, and hopefully we can continue that over the next couple of months or 3 months to kind of cement what we've done so well.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's it, isn't it? We've been consistent. We've been the most consistent team in the league, and that pressure has told on on some of the lesser teams in the league. The gap is growing between us and the teams that we would consider top four challengers. It is a stage where you're thinking that's going to take some doing to catch up. You're sort of 15 points plus ahead of some, and even if you look at Spurs and Newcastle, okay, they're only 7 and 8 points respectively, but you've got a game in hand on them. So that's possibly an 11 and 10 point gap. And now City have to look behind their backs at Newcastle, who are only a couple of points behind them. So maybe that pressure will help in the races for us. Just swap round. Yeah, no, it's an interesting season, isn't it? So, and let's be honest, no one would have predicted we'd have been where we were. So it's nice to be there. I mean, even though I said top four, top four was the I around about 86 points and 10 to 12 points closer to City and Liverpool, and so that's we're on course for that. So that can only be good.
yeah, no, I think there's been a lot obviously on our WhatsApp group about where we should be, and yeah, I've kind of scooted through long debates through the night, and yeah,
Sorry.
I was out at a party last night, and I ended up having to kind of glance up and get on to the like the multiple screens in the bar with a load of Tottenham fans that were before the game were really jubilant because yeah, they obviously ended up getting that result, but yeah, they were really winding up. They thought that we were gonna drop points, and it didn't look good, did it? In all honesty, at the start, with Xhaka going down a couple of times.
Yeah, apparently there was a bug or an issue with some of the players with what they've eaten, causing problems. But even so, it seems that they got through that and got a result. So
Yeah, it's almost it's similar to what you would probably say. Well, it's not similar at all when Tottenham got served up lasagna. And yeah, Chef Arsene had obviously dropped it on the floor. He forgot about the 10-second rule and then served it up to the Tottenham players, and then they all dropped down. But yeah, questions about them actually staying in a hotel for a London derby was that's in their own side. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think Arsenal are a bit more sensible in the way they approach stuff. Certainly with preparation wise.
yeah,
Hence why they're not really. There's been no real details about what's been eaten or whatever. Um, so whether or not it was obviously at a hotel or whatever. I imagine they obviously travelled up the day before.
yeah.
So
And it can happen sometimes, can't it?
it may do, yeah. But as I say, there's lots of it going around. So yeah, it just didn't look good because all I was looking at, I just literally just saw him just going down, and you're suddenly thinking, oh, that's not looking good. But I didn't know. I hadn't heard the commentary and said, oh yeah, he was ill. So there's me thinking he's gone and either aggravated something or done something, and it was like very early. And then when you're set up to play an away game, and then an injury happens that quick, what's going to come next? And you're suddenly thinking, what? Well, yeah, we're going to have to change things, and yeah, are we going to do? But yeah, look, they were looking on the counter attack, weren't they? And they're dangerous
yeah.
with Traore and
He's always dangerous, isn't
yeah,
he?
and
He's a beast of a guy. So he's quick, he's strong. Uh,
but it's not just him though, is it? It's, you do look at all the other players that are threats there. Neves, even the guy who was the guy who hit a couple of shots just over the bar.
Podence or
No, but he's another one that's
yeah,
that's been quite good. What's his name? Let's try and remember him. I don't know, but yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, just direct running, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a test. And I thought at the end of the day, we come through that test very well. And
yeah.
there was always that danger. There was always that danger that we will struggle. And remember, always playing last is never an easy thing. When you know everyone has either say won or lost, and we've got that chance to then go and make up and get those points, then that adds pressure on.
Yeah,
And
and you got to remember that they were also playing for the new manager to impress the new manager
yeah,
because he
well,
was sitting in the stands watching, so
yeah,
and making these decisions about players on the field. So
but we had it when we went to Brentford. We went played it away. It's a loud stadium anyway, atmosphere wise. But then when you're playing 7:45 on a Saturday night, that stadium probably would be bouncing in the best possible times. But how they're sitting bottom of the league with some of the teams that we've seen, obviously, that are not as good, in my opinion, as them. It's it's quite
I
crazy.
think their biggest problem is having somebody to put the ball in the back of the net, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've been unlucky, haven't they?
That's where they're because I believe they've only scored 8 goals all season so far, and that doesn't bode well for them.
Yeah, I mean they bought some, didn't he? And he injured himself in the first game or something, didn't he? Done his ligaments in or something, his knee ligaments or something. So he's
Yeah,
out for.
and then they got Costa in, and he
And
got
he got red
himself
card.
red carded.
Yeah.
So
So, but yeah, look, we knew it was going to be a big task, and they handled it well. And yeah, they had to ride a little bit of luck, but I thought they were. I thought they were decent enough in the first half. It ended up going to 0-0 at the break, didn't it? And
yeah,
we had a couple of chances.
yeah. I think again, what we've seen is a pattern throughout some games. That final pass, that shot, just not quite there in that first half, was it? It was a bit rushed or not quite accurate enough. And I mean, Jesus did get the ball in the back of the net, but he was offside. So, but the effort was there. It was about knowing that you were going to get more chances and being patient, I think, and not getting rattled or overly concerned about things.
Yeah, no, definitely. Am I still live?
Yeah, we're still alive. There's still things to go.
That's right. I'm popping up with am I dropping at all? Can you
It might
everyone?
be that your connection drops. What usually comes up is the little yellow box.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. I'm
Yeah,
just making sure that I could be heard. So save me talking like I'm on mute. So yeah, so the second half is like almost like how we come out normally in the first half, where we're really kind of gunning for it, and we're looking focused. And yeah, what better way to come into that second half is then to get that goal. And it was a really well worked move, wasn't it? And finished off by Odegaard, but it could have been
yeah,
Saka as well in there. But it was Fabio Vieira, and yeah, that's my Spanish name. So yeah, but he had a lot to prove as well, didn't he?
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I know people are slating him, but he's 21. He's come from a Portuguese league where he's not particularly had much first team game time. He got more game time once Diaz left for Liverpool last year, and he's come to the most physical league, and Arteta's just gradually easing him in, giving him minutes here and there, getting him used to it, getting him used to the pace and the physicality. And he's a decent player. He showed at Brentford, but he's got an eye for goal, and he can assist, and that's it. That's the way it is. So I think he's decent. And that ball from Jesus in. Well, let's talk about Martinelli, because it was Martinelli who picked it up, drove, and then passed it off, and then that nice thing. It looked like he'd overhit it at first, but it was a nice little dink pass into the centre of the goal where Odegaard just beat Saka to the ball.
Yeah, it's a lovely little, just like kind of like reverse blind pass, and it was just like almost just like a proper cut back straight into him, and it was just like perfect for the run. I just love the back. Martin, good you mentioned Martinelli, because he had a part in both of them really. It was quite nice, and he had a back heel to kind of set Vieira through for that second goal. I think was a second goal, wasn't it? The
Zinchenko for the second goal. Yeah,
yeah,
he set Zinchenko off,
yeah.
and Zinchenko just he looked up, saw that there was plenty of space in the box, and decided to keep going and put it across. And
Yeah,
then he had
that first touch when Vieira picked up that ball, and I suddenly thought when he'd done it, he moved away from goal, and it was like that
I
first
think that
touch.
was deliberate.
He's gone more away from goal, and you're suddenly thinking, oh, is he good? Has he messed this up? And you'd suddenly just think like that. But then it was that he moved away, but then that little dink across the goal, sold out the goalkeeper, was just like it was sublime. I thought it was nice. It's a lovely delivery.
And I think that was deliberate. It wasn't a poor touch. I think he deliberately decided.
That's it. Yeah, give himself space, and then it almost made the goalkeeper's mind to kind of come out and be a little bit more towards the ball. And obviously by then he's kind of just dinked it over, and he's out of the equation. But if he takes a touch maybe towards the goal, he probably finds himself in a bit of trouble with either the goalkeeper.
And the keeper stays centrally and can cut that ball out.
Yeah, so you look at it like that and you think, brilliant. So yeah, no, I think we do need patience with him, because as I say, it is tough.
I think he's more. I think he's more for more for the idea was more for the second half of the season when you know
Second
you're
half
going to
season
need.
into next season,
Yeah.
you look at it like that, and you think, yeah, he hasn't had a full pre-season. He had the injury at the start, so he lost about 3 months. So yeah, he is coming in, and he's coming in probably shorter than a lot of the others in the squad. But
But
that's
he didn't do bad. I mean,
that.
it's not an easy place to go to go, and yeah, he grew. First half wasn't great, but he grew into the game like the rest of the team,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
he provided the vital first first assist, and that got us off and give us a little bit of ease, didn't it? It put a little bit of cushion, knowing that Wolves struggled to score. That sort of took the burden off us.
Yeah, but no, they had their chances, Wolves. So yeah, so I don't. Yeah, I don't think I don't think there'll be any kind of conversations that it's just Wolves. It's I mean, on the
No,
bottom of the league. I
there is
saw a
no
couple of
easy
messages
game,
like
is
that.
there?
I
There
saw
is
a
no
couple of
easy
messages like
game in
that, and I
this
said,
league.
yeah, the bottom of the league, we've got to be beaten, and we've got to be unbelievable. It's like 100%. It's got to be. We've got to win. When you're suddenly thinking, well, it isn't going to be easy, and you know what I mean. It's a false position. Just like potentially you could say well, it could potentially be a false position for us being top because no one expected it. We are top through the amount of games that we've played, and we take it like that. But
Yeah,
again, that little period can be masked by other little things and certain things like what the Wolves have had on the other side of the scale puts them at the bottom. But look, I'm well impressed with how consistent and how well we're kind of dealing with games from a management level rather than anything else.
yeah,
And there's times, yeah, we do get caught a little bit short, but majority of the time we're doing really well. We're doing really well with the ball. We're keeping the ball, and yeah, we just still just look a threat, don't we? Just in
yeah. It's a risk. We play a risk reward game. We press high up, but that leaves plenty of space behind us, and we have seen in games like United and Brighton that you can be caught out if you're not 100% on it. But in the majority of our games this season, we have been on it and we have been spot on, and it hasn't hurt us. So you wouldn't change anything. We and again, if you look, you've got a pretty solid defensive line there, and the downside to Sinchenko's game is that he's not the greatest defensively, but look at the amount of control we have in games. I don't know what the passes per defensive action was yesterday, but in the Chelsea game it was like six. So Chelsea were getting 6 passes before we were pressing them, uh, and for which is our best in the season so far. So, and it seemed from the second half it was pretty. We were closing them down pretty quickly, so it wouldn't be. It would be similar. I think there's only been one game this season where we sat off and allowed, and I think it was Bodo Glimt when we allowed them 13 passes before we engaged them, and that's the only game where we've been in double figures for uh, our presses per defensive action. So it's working, and yeah, we know that Thomas Partey is key to that, and we're going to need him, and Jesus is probably key to that as well because he's just an animal, I haven't seen many other players in the league that can do what he does for 90 minutes a game,
Yeah,
because he's relentless.
yeah, we'll go into Jesus in a moment, but yeah, no, he's like I say, the effort and the work ethic is really good, and I think that just epitomises what Arteta wants from his players, and it's not just say a striker; it's kind of all around the pitch. He wants a few players like that that can really kind of enforce themselves and just be there and able, willing to track back and get involved. And there were numerous times I saw where Jesus was coming back and he was appearing on that kind of like left side, winning the ball back, tracking back, and yeah, just then starting another attack. Yeah, admittedly, if we were saying, do we want our striker to be that deep, then we probably would say no. But I say I'll go into that a little bit later with Jesus. But it just shows how much he links up and gets involved. So I'm just going to pop into live chat just for a short moment. Alex, good evening and welcome to Cannon Fodder TV. Evening, Paul and Richard. Ashley D. Hey up, Gooners.
Hey up, Ash.
And yeah, it's good second half. Jesus needs to step up and start scoring. Yeah, Jesus will be. We'll come to him.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
Yeah. Does he need to? As long as Arsenal scoring freely. Yeah. And that's what we got him for. If he ain't up to the mark, get someone who is. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is good. So, all right, we'll do it. We'll go into him now. And look, I look at last season, and we talked about how inefficient we were with our striking options, and it probably took Nketiah when he come on to show that actually he was probably the most prolific out of the three, in all honesty, and the one that looked more and more likely to have done something, because yeah, we had the issues with Aubameyang and then Lacazette coming in, but when you look at Lacazette last season and you picture he played 36 games and yeah, he scored 6 goals and 8 assists in those.
So that's 14 goal contributions in 36 games.
Yeah, so we look at Jesus this season. It's 20 games, 5 goals, 7 assists. So you look at it, and do you think Jesus has added more to the team than a Lacazette or an Aubameyang?
I think so, because he leads that press. How he keeps the ball. I don't remember too many defenders getting the better of him. Not, and if they have, they've had to sort of manhandle him to the ground to get the better of him. We're at a stage now where I'm looking back at, you had Perez, Bergkamp, Henry, Overmars, you had Vieira and Petit, and the goals were coming from all across the pitch. But you had that one focal point that was knitting it together, and this is what we've got now. We've got Jesus holding the ball, being here, there, passing it, bringing others into play, and we're getting goals from play other areas of the pitch, and we're sharing the workload, and I think that's better for us, rather than just relying on the striker, because that that can create a problem, because if your striker's off form, not where your goal's coming from. Whereas if Jesus is having a little dry spell, and I'm just thinking he's unlucky at the moment. He's getting in those places. He's getting the chances. It's hitting the post. It's keeper saving. Somebody's blocking. It'll eventually turn around, but other people are contributing, and you're not relying on Saka or just Martinelli. You've got Xhaka scoring. You've got Odegaard scoring. Defenders are chipping in.
Yeah,
So
this is what I said. I said at the start of the season. I said, if I think I gave Jesus a target of a minimum of 15 goals, and yeah. I then put that to on the other side of it, and said that there has to be more goals coming from our midfield, and that is from Saka, it's from Martinelli, it's from Xhaka now, because we know he got a great shot, but obviously he was playing deeper previously. Now he's been getting in that kind of run. I said potentially he could get double figures as Xhaka, and you're suddenly thinking these little outlets that we didn't really see too many different scorers. And you want to start seeing these goals coming in from those players, because it takes focus away from it, but I think this also is then showing how much of a link up Jesus is.
Yeah.
And he does.
We're not a one-man team.
No. So I look at it like that, and Alex said, "Are we really concerned about Jesus not scoring?" I'm not, because I think he's getting in positions and causing threats and still being involved. And as long as you're involved and you're still making things happen and the team are scoring goals, then I say this to obviously the boys I coach at football. I rate assists more over goals, and I say I'd rather you have a hat trick of assists than a hat trick of goals all across. And I'm just suddenly saying it just means that you're a bit more unselfish. You're putting the team, the club, before your own personal gain. And I want everyone to be scoring goals and just sharing it all around from defence to midfield.
And as I said, I mean, he did get the ball in the net yesterday. Unfortunately, he was offside, but it wasn't as if he put it and the keeper had stopped still. The keeper still made an effort to try to get it. It was just unfortunate he was just off. So
no, that's it.
It will come. It will come for him. It's just, and I think he'll get 20 plus goal contributions this season. And if you put that, if you get him, Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka, Smith Rowe, all in double figures, and then you get Xhaka and Partey sort of up near double figures in goal contributions, you're laughing.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that was the thing. Massive thing is we struggled for goals last season. Just as a whole, and that was because
we got 60, didn't we? 60 all.
Again, this is what I said about we worked on our defence. We rebuilt our defence. We rebuilt midfield. We made those changes for those two units. The only thing that we never touched, or at that time, was the attack, and that showed through the lack of goals that we were getting. Is that Arteta didn't have the tools that he wanted to. And that's not saying that just because we get Jesus in, all of a sudden we're going to score. He's going to score 30 goals himself. It's a little bit different by that. And again, there's different traits and there's different things.
You could have gone for a Nunes or a Haaland, but he knew what he wanted. He knew what he wanted for the team, and he went and got it.
Yeah. But I say, I just think all round, I just think he's certainly better than what we had last season. And again, if we're talking about stepping stones, we're talking about stepping stones on our development, the way our squad is morphing and changing into the next generation, and each window we're going to try and add little bits to it, and each time we're just going to keep going up and up and up, and that's just a way of doing it. Yeah, we've improved on what we had last year as a striker option or a striking option. Yeah, all right, we're a little shorter than what we were if they were viable players like last season. Obviously, we had 3 strikers then, and yeah, all right, we could still play Martinelli down the middle if needed. So potentially, we've still got 3 strikers, but yeah, with just Nketiah and him there, yeah, we may be a little short, and it may be something that we want to explore in January, but we don't know. But if we're saying is it an improvement, then 100%, 100% it's an improvement. And then yeah, get Champions League. Do we get that other striker that can make a difference to change up the play? But again, I don't think our play will suit probably someone like, I'd say it because obviously he scores goals, Harry Kane, or someone like that who always wants to score goals.
You see, this is where you're looking and you're thinking, Ivan Toney would probably be your ideal alternative because he can hold the ball up. He can play. He presses. He can play the ball. He can go in behind, and he's got the aerial. And he's got a bit of an aerial threat to him. So it might not be a world class name, but he would do. He would give you a different option, and you wouldn't have to take Jesus off because Jesus can play on either wing. So you could take a Saka or Martinelli off and put Tony through the middle and have Jesus just coming off him and just giving it a different threat there.
Yeah. I'd said about this as well, and this was another thing in our little group was saying about like Arteta's plans for the transfer window, and obviously where we are, obviously unexpected. We didn't think we were going to be in a title challenge.
We need 2 players minimum.
We've basically bulldozed the title challenge, haven't we? We've literally just come in and we've rocked up and we've
been consistent, and we're making people stand up and take notice.
It has an element of Leicester about it as well, and you remember it was they're gonna fall short. They're gonna lose this week. They're gonna lose this week, and then they didn't. And you've got that kind of like air of similarities again. Yeah, people are expecting us to fall more for wanting because they don't want to see us like there.
And the other thing, I don't know if you've noticed, is the new one is no team with this many point being top at Christmas. Only 10 of it out of the 13 have ever 10 teams who have been at top at Christmas have got out of 13 have gone on to win it, and the other times it's been Man City. Now that gives a false idea because in every other season the team at the top at Christmas has played 19 to 21 games. We'll have only played 14. So that it's just another way of painting a picture of Arsenal failing.
Yeah, it's very negative, isn't it?
Our time will come at the end of February when you get to 21, 22 games. Where are we then? And this is why what we do between now and December in preparation for restarting, and then what our plans are for January transfer are key. In my opinion, I think I trust Arteta to have got all the plans for the physical health and the mental well-being of the players when they come back spot on. I don't think the guy leaves a stone unturned in making sure that they're prepared. What
Yeah,
you can't
I
prepare.
think they've always got teams kind of always in contact with them,
Yeah.
be there just to kind of go for. I think that's a standard thing. I'm thinking more of like this whole plan of like, oh yeah, we need to get in 2-3 players, blah
Well,
blah blah. But because we're in a
we
title,
do we. I mean, if you apart from ESR, who's due to come back, I mean, 2 players minimum. You want somebody in that party role, and then you could have somebody in sort of that Xhaka role, and then you want a player who plays across the front three. Now you could say Emil Smith Rowe can play the Xhaka role, or he can play. He can cover from Martinelli, but we don't really have somebody to cover the Saka side. If that's the side that you've got now, somebody he doesn't perform on the right hand side. He performs better on the left hand side. So it's whether they go out and get somebody for that, and then just do the DM and say Emil Smith Rowe can be the third, or do they go out and get 3 and say with Emil Smith Rowe coming back, that's 4 players into 4 extra players into the squad. But you've got to balance that as well, I suppose, because if you spend on 3 players, how does that affect your summer plans for next season?
yeah. Well, this is what I say about the stepping stones, and yeah, you say you've got. I imagine Arteta has he has a plan. He has a list of what he wants to bring in, and he'll say, right, okay, this over this season, these are my targets. He'll also have probably a list of Sunday players that he would be maybe looking at getting in the summer already, and it's those little things to bring in. That's I don't think that's too far fetched. Yeah. I think there's long term plans where we suddenly say, well, okay, yeah, all right. I don't think we're going to get this guy in January, but then yeah, we've got this now. We're in Champions League. We want to go for this player. So where we are now, and this I say about the where we are as a team and as a club, and we suddenly say, okay, well, yeah, we have our plan. We say we want to get these players in January, but then all right, we're going to fast track it, and we're going to say, well, we need to try and see if we can get maybe a couple of these guys that we were going for in our summer Champions League kind of like list of players. Can we push the boat out, and can we get in? If there's an opportunity, go for it. And if we're in a title push, that might sway a couple of players to come in. But yeah, I agree with that. We do need some new faces, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Mudryk coming in. So there's a few rumours.
Danilo are the strongest links at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah. But, let's just trot back in to live chat. Yeah, Lynn, good evening. It was a game of 2 halves. In the first 45 minutes, you could see that the players were frightened of getting injured due to the World Cup, but obviously Mikel had words in the second and they stepped up. Yeah, I just think maybe they were probably more cautious about the atmosphere, I suppose, and being away from home. I think,
and a little bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, and Xhaka wasn't the only one that was apparently not feeling great. So whether or not they might have had something, I
don't know, going through or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those. Yeah, I don't think. I think that's worse. If players are frightened of getting injured, then it's just like the old thing. If you're going in for a tackle and you're half-heartedly going in for a tackle, you're going to come out of that tackle injured. So playing like that, you will get injured. So you have to play, otherwise you will come a cropper. So yeah, I think Mikel wanted to get a bit more tempo in our game, and certainly make us a bit more dangerous going forward. And look, that showed. But yeah, I think there was a bit of nervous energy going through as well, because probably preparation probably wasn't great either. Certainly I'm guessing that pre-match meal that they were talking about was like lunchtime, and if people were feeling a little bit rough, kind of like before, like even getting to the stadium or whatever, then it's not particularly great anyway. Certainly if you are feeling a little bit sick. So I couldn't. I wouldn't like that at all. I wouldn't.
No,
I'd hate to be on that pitch, and because you know what it's like when you're even when you're at home and you feel sick, you've got a sickness bug, and to be just out on a pitch and you're running around, you're trying to get yourself around, and you're like, oh, this ain't happening.
and it's got to be pretty bad for Xhaka to come off, hasn't it?
Yeah, if it's affecting him, it's quite honest of him as well.
Yeah.
Because he could easily have carried on and potentially not been still at his best, and and it could have cost us. But look,
But we still found a way through.
Found a way, and that's something that we haven't been doing. So Odegaard showed that he could lead by example, and he did. He was my man of the match. Yeah, again, he's another player that's been getting flack again. I don't get it. Again, he's another kind of like misplaced kind of.
Yeah, because he's one of those that you don't see what he does off the ball, or the tracking back, or the closing down, but and all the bits that go unnoticed. You don't tend to watch it, which is why I like watching games back afterwards as well on the TV, and watching them 2 or 3 times, because you can pick up things that you might have missed the first time, and you sort of get, as I've said, when you're low down on the match, you get drawn to the ball. You're not seeing who's making the runs, who's doing the pressing, who's making sure the shape's right, and bits and pieces. So you can miss the little things, but when he's on the ball, he just keeps that ball ticking. It's boom, 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 boom. It's an extra pass. It's an extra few yards your opponent's got to run, and that tells. And yeah, of course we'd all like him to score more goals and maybe more assists, but you've got to have people on the end of those. He can make a pass and it goes to waste. That happens with teams. You got to remember, players are human, but they're not going to be perfect every game. They're going to have moments, or in an entire match, they're going to have moments in games where they're brilliant and moments where they're not so good or make a mistake. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, and assess the whole match and the season in the end, and say, well, overall they had a pretty good season. And I think he's 6 goals for 4 assists now.
Yeah, well, he's the joint top scorer now. So he's, and again, that's something that got labelled in as like, it's like we're struggling because Jesus is not scoring, and
I saw somebody who is it Lee Gunner, and he was lambasting him, and he was like, oh, he's not even on in the list for assists. And he was on the first page in the middle of it.
Yeah,
if you're going to say somebody and you're trying to use facts, at least get your facts right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got no time for.
But it's I can understand, because it's quite easy to miss what he actually brings to the team. And he's not vocal. He's not the most vocal in the match, and you would say that Xhaka is the the guy that shouts and screams and is the vocal leader.
Do you
But
know another player like that, Richard, that we had previously? That was a little bit of a player like that, where it was kind of like they would do stuff that others wouldn't really see and or take notice. Any ideas?
uh, well, how far are you going back?
Oh, yeah, no, not too far, not too far.
I mean, you see, I like Ozil, and he got the same sort of stick
Bingo, there
because
you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. And
because
yeah,
again with him it was always that you got one extra pass out when you maybe another player wouldn't have got that extra pass out.
yeah, there were two stages with Ozil, weren't there? And it was one of
Yeah,
those where it was towards the end of his career, and well, not his career, his Arsenal career, and yeah, the club had made it sure that he was, we didn't want him, they didn't want to pay his wages. But yeah, you saw his stats for like running and ground coverage and everything like that. Unbelievable. He was probably one of the top 2, 3
see,
on the team.
you
But
see, and what I hated was he got compared to Sanchez. Now, for me, I I didn't like Sanchez as much because he would give the ball away more, and then he would run around like a headless chicken chasing after the mistake he made.
but
And
that's also another good thing as well, because of obviously Sanchez, and he was obviously very good. Well, very good
well, I
at
like
press. He
what he
wasn't
did
very
when
good
he
at
get the
press, was he?
ball.
Because
Yeah,
we weren't pressing as a
yeah.
team. So you'd run around and then you get passed around. And that proved that how disjointed we were as a team when he was there, because yeah, there was no real way of doing things. So he'd just be running around, then suddenly the ball's past him, and then he's like looking around like, oh, okay. But then yeah, Xhaka, Ozil is the one picking up the ball on the edge of like the penalty area, looking to play forward when you want him in kind of in around the like the centre like circle to kind of pick up the balls forward to then play those balls forward. So that was where he went wrong. But a lot of like misplaced kind of like things were about him, and that's just kind of that comparison with Odegaard. He does do a lot of nice stuff, and maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's like a normal player. He isn't a glitzy glamour player. I don't know. Yeah, hasn't got a voice, or he's been given the captaincy, and yeah, because he doesn't talk or he doesn't seem vocal, he isn't the real captain. And look, he is a decent player, and look, I think they're very young across the board, and this is what I say about this team. They're still learning as well. They're still learning how to play as a unit, as a Mikel Arteta unit. I don't think it's clear cut and dry that they know everything about how they're going to be playing fully every week against different systems. There's going to be times that they're always going to be learning when they come up against a team that plays a certain way or has a certain result against us, and they'll learn from it. And like last season, you probably find that was a massive learning experience for those players to deal with that pressure, to deal with the negative side of things, and coming off the pitch at the end of the season drained and yeah, just demoralised because of how it ended up. We know how it ended up, but yeah, look, it weren't it. We didn't get top 4 just because we didn't buy anyone in January. That was through the period of games
I think
midway
it was a
through the
missed
season.
opportunity, but it
Yeah,
wasn't the reason we didn't get top 4
yeah, that's it. And
because it was. I mean, no, it wouldn't have been a striker you needed. It was the fact that you missed Tommy Asu, you missed Party and Tierney at crucial stages. But even then, if you look at the Burnley game, 0-0 at home, get a result there. The Crystal Palace last
It's just one. It's just one game. At the
the
end of
Crystal
the day.
Palace one draw at home. It's so though the 0-0 at Brighton away, we had chances. It's those. There's 3 or 4 games, and that's before you got to the end of the season. You could have picked out where you maybe could have done something. And again, with Brentford at the beginning of the season, you go into the season, you've not got any of your players in that you want, and you go in, your 2 main strikers come down with COVID, and you've got to play Balogun and Ketia. It doesn't help, and it's not an excuse, but there are defining reasons behind the way we started. And at the end of the day, they've learned from that. This season, we got all our signings in before pre-season started. We had a proper pre-season with them, and look at what we've done.
Yeah. Even before that start of the season, when it was just like, because obviously the tour got cancelled as well, and that was going to be a really kind of important kind of like a workout for the players. And then we ended up playing Watford. We played Watford and Millwall. I think we played as friendlies. So it's a big difference to being over in America playing those games and getting that conditioning over there. So. Yeah, well, that was last season. We know that now.
I mean, this season we've done better, and we've learned from it.
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
all you can hope that your club does is learn from past mistakes. So, I mean, I think we're in a good position, and hopefully, that they've. And what I hope is that Arteta, Kroenke's, and Edu are sitting down this week, probably the latter part of this week, and saying, right, this is our plan. This is what we'd like to do. And then the Kroenke say, yeah, we agree with that. Push on with it.
Yeah, well, I think there's got to be. I'm sure Arteta will be always in their ears because they want it to happen. It's about now whether or not KSE want to go to full hog. And there was something else said about it. It was like, you got to start getting them to start treating Arsenal like one of their other franchises in the American sports.
Yeah.
And what they've done, they've given contracts, probably the biggest contracts in those kind of sports to players to get them where they are. And they've got to put up now, and they've almost got to overextend themselves like they should have done when we moved into the Emirates. So that's they've got to push themselves now, and they can't stop. They've got to do it and get on the bandwagon. But I think our biggest signing, if we go into January, is getting these youngsters signed up on new contracts.
And I'll tell you what, I think they're done. I think they're just waiting.
Well, yeah.
You're telling me that they prioritised Gabriel over the other 3. They'd have wanted all of them sorted at the same time, and it's just a case of getting that timing right. And they've obviously. I mean, the only one that they might not have done would be Saliba, and you can understand that he probably wants to see what his game time's like, and be assured that he is a genuine part of the plans.
Yeah, I'd say there'll be my 2 big kind of like headaches. And
I mean, Saka, Martinelli has said he'd sign straight away. Saka's going to sign, and you've just gone into this period. and you're top of the table. You've got one of the best points totals. I think it's the fourth best points total in a Premier League season at this stage.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd say it's got to breed confidence, and we have to. We just hope that's enough to push them through, and get the job done. But yeah, that will certainly take a lot of weight off a few of our fans' minds. I think just getting them signed up.
Yeah,
Um,
because it will be a concern, but I don't see in the past, but now we've got Richard Garlick going in and that. I think that they will have been on, and if it's not already done it with the agreements in principles in place, and it's just about getting the fine tuning of those things done, which isn't really hard.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Glenwyn, Guna Matters, evening gents. A man of the match was not one of those those names. It was Ramsdale. Yeah, we hadn't given a man a match, but yeah, from what I saw, yeah, Ramsdale did make some crucial saves through the game, and yeah, he did look
He's neat and tidy on the ball as well.
he did look all round, yeah, solid. So yeah, no, I'd agree with you, Glenwyn, on that. I think it's definitely one of the standout players across both for halves. So yeah, well done, Rambo. England's number one.
No, he'll be England's number 3. You know Southgate. He's already shown. He had a chance of putting him in the friendlies recently, and he put Pope. And okay, Pope's done well for Newcastle, but he's not. He's not. I mean, Ramsdale 6 clean sheets this season.
Yeah, well,
In the Premier
Now
League, so
Everton are playing poor. I wonder whether or not Pickford is under a bit of
he'll
pressure
go with
now.
Pickford because Pickford's
Well, he's tried and trusted,
yeah.
so he's he probably will do. But we can always be in hope.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if he doesn't play, it means he's not going to get an injury, and he'll come back. He's got less chance of getting injured and coming back fresher and ready for the next part of the season. But on the personal side, you'd like to see him start maybe the Iran game, because the Iran game is really the game that's almost a walk in the park, or it should be.
Yeah, no.
And
We
then,
don't know. We don't know what he's going to do we? At the end of the day.
I don't think he knows what he does.
So Lynn says, and on Wednesday, Arteta could have played a masterstroke because had we have won, Arteta wouldn't have had such a strong case for bringing in players. Now Arteta can say we need to strengthen. Yeah, this is something I mentioned as well with Richard, and I went to the game on Wednesday, and yeah, on paper it looks like we made 10 changes. Was it an experimental side? No, because they are squad players. They are in our squad. They should be expected to play, minus the goalkeeper. And it might have been that we just needed to kind of just freshen up. And if the boys they've been doing well in training, why not give him an
and
out?
Turner's only just come back from injury, hasn't he?
So
So
if he's not there, and you're then looking at you don't want to risk Rambo playing in there, so you'll suddenly say, right, okay, all right, we'll play there. Yeah, the boys made a mistake, a judgment error, and it's one of those. And to say that we played a weakened side and he chucked the game away, I thought was a little harsh, because I don't think the scoreline justified how the game went. I think we were caught by a couple of goals at key times. and I think Arteta alluded to that actually in his press conference where he said, yeah, at times we were actually on the ascendancy, and yeah, the second goal went in, we'd hit the post, and the goalkeeper made a save, and just generally we looked more dangerous and we were coming into it, and then straight away again we just get sucker punched with them coming forward, and yeah,
Similar to the United game, wasn't it? Where
yeah,
we had control and we were dominant and looking like we might score, and then they go and
we just got caught on
sucker
that
punch us.
yeah, we just got caught on that right hand side, just and
And that,
yeah, with
yeah,
Lamptey.
and that's where Suarez and who hasn't had much game time this season. And he's our third choice right back. So you've got to say that had he had more minutes this season, that he's probably not getting caught out as badly.
But this is the argument though. When do you give them minutes? If you can't,
Yeah.
if you're getting pelters for not playing your number one team in every single competition, every single game, when do these players actually get these minutes then? Because then suddenly, yeah, you're not gonna be. No one's gonna be happy if they suddenly see him coming in for Ben White playing against, say, Chelsea or whatever like that, because they'll be like, oh, well, if it goes wrong, then straight away Arteta, what's he
Has made a
doing?
mistake. Yeah.
So you look at that. Was that team
Strong enough to
worthy
beat
and strong enough to have got through that game? Yes, and they did have chances.
And my other thing is that this is a very good Brighton team. They're sixth in the league, and they had 5 starters, 5 first team players on that pitch. We had just Saliba.
Yeah.
So it was always going to be a tough match, and in the end, fine margins. But they scored their goals. We didn't take our chances, and that's the way it is. But it's not as if we went out to Nottingham Forest or Wolves or Huddersfield or a lesser a lower league side.
Yeah.
It was a Premier League side. We went out to it and won in the top half of the table.
But I do look at it now, and I do thank God that we're not playing.
Yeah, because
3 days after that World Cup final, if you imagine,
because I think there's one just in December, isn't there? The 4th round's in December.
Yeah,
and then
3 days after the World Cup final, it's that week, and you're suddenly thinking, what team are you going to put out? Imagine. Oh, put it another way. Imagine putting a full strength squad out.
You get drawn against Man City and Newcastle.
Well, yeah. Say we put a full strength squad in for Wednesday, and we either say still didn't get a result or we got through. Then we went, or we picked up an injury on Wednesday. We then went into this game yesterday, and then didn't get the result. Can you imagine the rhetoric of the argument would be then, well, why has he played all the players then? And again, it's one of those. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think.
The important thing was,
the
important game was Saturday, because that's the league. You've also got to think that he's got to protect those players going away. He has a duty of care to them. Whereas he's got to play them, but he's got to also make sure that he gives them the best opportunity of going away to a World Cup. By playing them on the Wednesday and then on the Saturday, he increases the risk of them getting injured and not going. It's a balancing act, and it didn't work out this time.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a 90-minute game at the end of the day. And had it been 2-1, I could have seen it easily being 2-2. It was just that third goal that just killed it, and then they actually killed the game by time wasting for nearly 10, 15 minutes, and they were literally every single time just literally running the clock down. But that's part of it. They've come over, they've done the job, and they got in that lucky position to get where they were. Tired Gunnosaurus is in the house. How you doing, mate? Good evening. What were your thoughts on Zinchenko versus Tierney? Which would you play as starter and why?
I think
it's hard.
I think it's dependent on your opponent. But what Zinchenko does, and we know what Zinchenko does really well, is he slots in by Tom's party. He gives you another passing option from the back, and he gives you that element and control. With Tierney, he goes up and down the wing. He's not so good coming inside, but he will have his chances. And I think it's more player management than not fancying Tierney or Tierney being an Emery player, as I've seen suggested. I think it's pure. He's come back from a knee problem. Which he's had surgery on, and he's come back. He's just getting his fitness back. He's just getting a rhythm back. And again, we're going into a period come January to March that will be really hectic, and we're going to need all our players possible fit and healthy. So having Zinchenko and Tierney rested means when we go into that period, we're going to be able to rotate and not worry about what quality, because you can put Tierney in and your quality is not going to drop off. It's about how you want to play the game, and that will depend on who you're playing.
Yeah, no, I'd say I agree. Yeah, I think Zinchenko, that kind of inverted kind of like play is more suited to him. Yeah. He seems a lot more comfortable doing it than Tierney. I think Tierney will be the one if we need to stretch play and we need to play on the outside. If we're chasing a game or we are expected to win and we are winning, then we've got that ability to kind of really kind of like push on wide. If we've got proper control of the midfield, we don't need that kind of like inverted one to give another body in. If we're winning that battle, so yeah, there's going to be times where he's going to just bomb forward and he's going to look to kind of play and go in the overlap with Martinelli. But yeah, I think that sums it up really. Tired. I think it's the way Arteta wants us to play is he wants to play with that inverted kind of style of play, which does give us that control. But again, it's all about what part of the game and how that game is going. I think at the end of the day, I think if we're losing a battle or we're winning a battle in midfield, then yeah, we don't really need that kind of inverted player to come in because yeah, we're stretching play and we want to get forward. So yeah, I think Zinchenko is probably the leader. I think if we're going to be honest, I think that's obvious that as soon as he's come in, he's played. But yeah, we have to be mindful of Tierney still getting game time. He's going to get a hell of a load of game time. Certainly in Europe. I think he's started.
Well, I'd worked it out even Tommy Asu had before the last couple of matches. Tommy Asu had 403 minutes of game time at left back. Zinchenko had 393, and Tierney had 300. So it's not a massive difference, and you've got to consider that Tierney had broken down, and then he came back in, and so the management of time between the three of them has been pretty good, and you'll get that. And Zinchenko had been out as well with injuries, so you're looking at. You can't play Tierney on the Thursday night and expect him to play on the Saturday. His body's not in the past has suggested it won't cope with that. So I'd rather see. I'm not adverse to seeing Tierney in the Europa League and the FA Cups, and Zinchenko starting, and maybe Tierney coming on for the last 20 minutes in the Premier League, because that works for me. That's a strong team in the cups, and a strong player in the. If we could have that all across the pitch, we'd be laughing, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just going through, see if there's anything else. Yeah, John Gooner is in the house. Evelyn Gooner, Merry Christmas. I can't believe you're saying Merry Christmas already, John.
Well, I work in the shop, so all the stuff's been out for ages.
You would believe it, but I've just been out trying to buy Easter eggs. So yeah, I think
you're not far away.
It's mad. The time is flying. But yeah, it will soon be here, won't it?
Yeah.
Jet. Oh, there. Xhaka went off to check on his statue outside. That tickled me there. So yeah, definitely. There's a statue in waiting there for Xhaka.
True. He's playing better, and he's deserving his plaudits, isn't he? So
yeah, that's it. Again, yeah, just hit the like button, everyone, and then please make sure you're subscribed to both my channel and yeah, if you're not on Cannon Fodder TV, get it done. It really helps. Yeah, loads of. Yeah, so Alex had said Odegaard on 50% of the votes as man of the match,
and that's not surprising, because I mean, when you come up with two goals and he didn't have a bad performance, you're going to put yourself up. And there were plenty of other unsung heroes on that pitch as well. Gabriel didn't have a bad game. Jesus again worked his socks off. You had Martinelli there, Ramsdale. So there were plenty of people there. It's just because the two goals stood out. I'd be interested to see what we're voting, where we're voting's on the other players as well. What the breakdown is.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I'll have a quick look. Alex is on. He'll be able to tell us just like that. He'll be able to. Am I there? I don't think I can. We'll go on there. Go on to the community side of things. Oh, I might be able to get there actually. Or can we see it? Can I see? No, can't see. Need to have a look. Alex will tell us. Tune in tomorrow with his show, and he'll give the results out. But yeah, no, it is good. I like the good spread of votes, because it shows that there's a lot of players that are putting in those kind of performances. Tired. I've been watching more Match of the Day this season than last decade. How about you guys? Yeah.
I do. I only ever forward to the Arsenal match. I don't bother watching anything else, and that's if I missed a game, and I want to see the highlights to get an idea of what's going on. And I, to be honest, I have listened to the post show, to the pundits' reactions to the games this season, which is something I don't normally do. I just normally watch a match, turn off, because they're usually crap and predictable. But it's been nice to actually hear what people are saying this season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, one last little thing as well. Tired. Yeah, just leave it to Arteta and Edu to decide who they bring in. They've done well so far. Yeah, like I say, they know best.
Yeah,
They know what they want. We can only
yeah,
we can only speculate. We're just only able to play Football Manager or play FIFA
yeah.
and build our teams like
And we
that.
can
And
only go on what links are out there in the media.
yeah, we just follow the 496 other players that we're linked with
Yeah.
every transfer window, and then hope that a couple.
So
Like I
somebody
say,
knows what they're actually talking about.
no, that's it. So yeah, no. Look, at the end of the day, we're in a better position than we were last year. If we can add to what we've got now, to then take us into the summer, then we're going to be in very good shape. And like I say, if those contracts are tied up and dusted into the summer, well, certainly before the summer, we're going to be in a very good place. And yeah, depending on how these next few months go, I'll tell you, it's an exciting time to be a Gooner. Yeah, really, really happy with how it is. But look, we talk about not even getting into halfway into the season. Obviously, 14 games
Yeah.
in, and we're suddenly thinking we've still got another 5 games to even get before we're
Right.
halfway there.
And as I said to you earlier, I'd broken it down, and our points per game puts us at 100.5 points for the season if we keep on the way we're doing. And
Well,
that's
I look at this next 5 games. Look, West Ham at home, Brighton away,
that's a tough one, Brighton away.
Newcastle at home,
Yeah, it's still a tough game.
Spurs away,
Yeah,
and then Man United
at home.
at home. And you're
Tough,
looking
tough
at those
games, but you, you you'd say West Ham at home, be Man United at home are the ones you'd look at, uh, and then the others are how do we perform? We know Brighton away is going to be difficult. We know Tottenham usually that North London derby usually goes with the home side.
yeah.
So can we go and get a result there? Can we go and get a win? Can we go and get a draw? Can we get something out of that game? And then uh, who's the other one?
Newcastle.
You yeah. So Newcastle. It depends what Newcastle you get, isn't it? I wouldn't. But they've been
I
pretty
think
good.
we're finding out on Newcastle now. I don't really think they're a real Jekyll and Hyde Newcastle like they used to
Well,
be.
they've had six. They've had six wins, or was it 7 wins now? 6 draws, and a couple of losses. So what's done them in is those draws.
5 wins on the bounce now,
Yeah,
and you look at it like that, and you think, yeah, no, they're in a real
they
form.
are the form. I think they're the form side in.
Yeah.
But it's,
So yeah, you look at it like that. And I look at it and I say, well, hey, if we can somehow get through those 5 games and still be top, that would be very, very interesting.
yeah,
Because I look at it, I'd expect, well, expect a big strong word, but obviously being at home against West Ham, yeah, we need to be winning that. And well, to be honest, if we got any kind of hopes of challenging, those 3 home games have
are
got to be
the ones
wins.
you do expect wins.
Yeah, they've got to be wins. And yeah, I'm not coming in and saying, yeah, they've got to be like 3-0 or 4-0 because obviously it isn't gonna happen. they're gonna be tough games. They're gonna be nervy games. But I look at this Brighton game, 5:30 on New Year's Eve, as a very tricky game. And yeah, we've been there before and had dodgy games over there. And if the atmosphere is buzzing for that as well, and even the weather being
Oh, it's a horrible
atrocious.
place
Yeah,
because
it was horrible last year, wasn't it? It was really
yeah,
bad last year, and it was just I think that was a 0-0, wasn't it? It was just
yeah,
absolute deluge of rain. But yeah, if we drop points there, not the be all and end all, but as I say, you like to say that we've still got enough about us to get a win there, and or at least a draw, and then yeah, Spurs again. We imploded a little bit. Rob Holding, I think, was just a bit in the red zone. I think in the game last year. Um, I think Son had done something to him a couple of seasons previous, and I think that probably would have been the first time that he actually played. I think it was when we played at home in one of the games, and he Holding was playing, and Son dived on one of his challenges and got a penalty, and I think that made that game last season as the first time that Holding had come up against him. So you do wonder about that, and you suddenly think about like if that how that affects players and all sorts. And yeah, maybe there was that little bit of needle there, and he just unfortunately got a little bit too involved in it, and yeah, played into Son's hand, and
yeah.
we know how it ended. But I
We
don't
need to
think
we
I
need
know.
to go in that game strong, don't we? We need a strong our best 11 out there
No, of
and
course.
just yeah. Uh,
But I think it showed though. But at the start of the game, we were playing really well, and we were pressing and we were really getting stuck in. And yeah, just a shame. It was just a shame how it ended. We know how the other.
Suarez challenge, and then the holding sending off changes the whole game. So,
Well,
but
look, even that penalty was just, and then when you consider the penalty that wasn't given for us on Tierney
yeah,
the other week, and it was like how is that not even looked at?
and this is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're asking for consistency, but when it's down to somebody's opinion, that's going to vary from game to game and person to person.
yeah. So Glenwyn said just a little bit earlier. The question is, why did we buy Jesus? I just want to just say, I just think when we're looking at that kind of pressing forward and one that's going to go in and press from the front,
Yeah.
he does everything with a purpose. Whereas we had Lacazette that would try and half run and try and get involved and try and press, but with not really a real confidence that he's doing it right or going to do it properly. So he'd run, but then it'd just be passed around, and then it'd be like,
And
oh, okay.
he couldn't do it for 90 minutes, could he?
No, and you look at this, but say you saw even yesterday where he'd be arcing his runs and just kind of just curving the runs to kind of make the play predictable down one side where he's trying to press, and it was good just to see that, because it shows that they are learning in that way, because yeah, they've all got to start doing it, and they've all got to start really working as that unit, and they've shown it this season where they are pressing a lot more together. So I think that's what it is. I think there's a purpose there now. That's what it is. It's not.
And I think Arteta believes that he will get us contribute more goals and contributions than Lacazette did in the season.
Well, look, we're nearly there, aren't we?
Yeah,
And he's got another. He's just over half the games that Lacazette had last year. But yeah, I just say it's a still a work in progress, and you think he's a new player coming into the group as well, and he's still got to learn and understand how others play as well. And the more games he plays with everyone, as well as all the group, the better they will get. I don't think we're anywhere near seeing probably the best of what we could potentially do as a group, because I think, yeah, they're still. I think that the whole system, I think, is still in the infancy. I still think there's lots to learn. There's lots of different things to be drilled into a training. So yeah, the more time they have doing what Arteta wants them to do, and new players that are added, the better it'll be, because that's how it is. But yeah, I don't think we bought Jesus in to score 30, 40 goals, because I don't think that was ever. I mean, it was ever like said, oh yeah, yeah, we need someone to come in and score 40 goals or 30 goals. At this point, I think it was more just to kind of link everyone up and create more goals for the greater good, and that'll be the team. Just finishing up. Yeah, Lynn, the only player who'll play for England, and that'll be off the bench, will be Saka. Yeah, Southgate will play Maguire. How he has picked a fridge to play at the back, I have no idea.
Again, it's down to Maguire not letting him down in other.
Oh yeah, trust.
And that's purely it. And you can say, yeah, he said he'll pick form, but you can't just pick form players. You've got to have one or two players that have been reliable,
Yeah,
and unfortunately he's done that. But he's picked Wilson. He's on form from Newcastle, so he has gone with some form players, and you know that it will depend on what formation he plays. If he goes for a 3-5-2, it could be White, Maguire, and Stones in
yeah,
there. I mean,
yeah,
it's and it'll be it'll probably be White, Maguire, then Stones on the left hand side, because of the two either side have got the pace. But we don't know how he's going to be playing. How he's going to be playing? Will he play a 4-3-3? Will he play a 3-4, sort of a 3-5-2, 3-4-3? It depends what he's thinking, and no one knows that except him. And he's done well in tournaments. What he's done in between tournaments has been pretty poor. But when it's come to tournament time, he usually gets it right. So we have to see what he does. And I think Saka will push, and you've got the player in trouble is Sterling. Again, because he's the one not quite on form, and it'll be what he shows in training until that first match, isn't it?
yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. Lynn just said, followed on. Just yeah, the point I was making, had we won with the players out on the pitch, with the fringe players, Arteta wouldn't have had a strong case. But losing with these players shows they do must strengthen. Yeah, I think we know that the players that are on the fringe are still replaceable and need to be upgraded. I think that's it. We are stronger than we were last year, because we've got rid of the players that were kind of fringe based last season. Yeah, we still have the ones that are there now. I still think Holding's better than most of the fringe players. I think he's quite dependable.
He's a solid, but I mean, it's the Suarez, it's the Nelson,
I thought Nelson had a really good game as well. By the way, I thought on Wednesday,
yeah,
I thought he done really well.
For
he lost
me,
a little bit in the second, but
yeah, He just you've still got a little bit of that drop off, haven't you, in quality, and that's where when you're doing that across a whole team, pretty much when you're saying right, Nelson's coming in, there's a drop off there, you're putting Marquinhos on, there's a drop off there, you're putting Nketiah on for Jesus, there's a drop off there, and then he's a drop off from Partey, and then you've not got Xhaka in the middle, you've got was it Vieira or no, Lokonga, wasn't it? There's a slight drop off there, and remember he was born to play that number 8 role originally, but because of the injury to Partey, they've tried him there. They've realised that's not his natural position, so they're reverting him to that number 8. But they spent a lot of money on him, and he's young, and he's going to have to adapt. And we still got players out. We've got Patino out, who's tearing it up at Blackpool, and these sort of players to come back and see if they can make an impact next year. So yeah, and it is. Oh, he needs to be blocked. He gets everywhere, that guy. Ash, can you get on that? Yeah, it's. I think we know that there are certain. We know across the back line, we've got quality for quality, and that's good. We know that the middle of the park and the up front, we haven't got like for like replacements yet, and that's what we're working on, and that's fine. Eventually, it will get there, but we can't go and do a Man City or a Chelsea and spend 500-600 million and quite happily and sort our problems. We've not got that capability, and it's not sustainable. I mean, I'll use my hometown, Portsmouth. You look at what Harry Redknapp did to us. Yeah, he bought loads of players in. He spent loads of money, and we won FA Cups, and we were in the Premiership. But once that had gone, we were in bankruptcy, and we had to work our way back out. And it was the same with Leeds in the 90s, wasn't it? O'Leary did very similar, and once you slip up, you start to struggle, and it's a long way back. I mean, at least we've been run sensibly, and now, and okay, the guys the Contes will never put their own money in, but they are clever enough to know how to make sure we optimise the money we've got available to us, and how to restructure things so that we get more money available to us.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we hope. Last couple of ones. Tired, I think, is the only one there now. Do you think the World Cup will impact on the players' mentality when they are back in December?
It will do differently, because you can have a player who won't play. How will that affect them? Then you'll have maybe like Saka in the Euros, where he missed a crucial penalty, and the stick he got. That could have an impact on the player.
There's no break from it. This is what I'm saying. So you go through someone who has a big disappointment, say in a cup final, and then say, for instance, 3 days later they're playing in a Carabao Cup game for their clubs or whatever. They could be coming back, and there's no respite, and it will play it's part, and this is why I think like the mental health like people working in and around the clubs will have a big thing to play with them, because you need to get certainly the younger players as well get their heads back in the game. Maybe it works a different way. Maybe if normally
But
we
then
go
again,
away.
if you think if Jesus and Brazil win, uh, and Martinelli win the World Cup, or Saka and White and Ramsdale win the World Cup, they come back buoyant and in a
Buzzing
good.
on a high, but again, you also
It, it's hard.
really interesting.
You're not going to know. And then you've got to look at the the fitness side and the mental fatigue, isn't it? It will as well after, because if you go to a World Cup final and you lose that, but your legs start to feel a little heavier, and it's a little harder to pick yourself up and get yourself through a game. But
Yeah.
but they're the things that this is where Edu, the medical team, Arteta will have to earn their corn. I would hope though that they've got people in place for players to talk to, whether they're in touch, to offer support when they need to, and because you've also got to remember you can't be in their faces 24/7, but you've got to let them know that if they need that support, that you're around.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. As I say, it's a total unknown. We don't know what it's going to be like after the event. And
But let's be honest, it's not just us. City are going,
oh mate, yeah,
and every team that have got players going to the World Cup are going to have to work
it's
out
like I said to
the
you
issue.
about we're playing these the games like against your Man United and your Tottenham, and I mean in January, and you're suddenly thinking, all right, we're playing these big games after the World Cup, and you're suddenly thinking it might be a better time to play them, because but they're both kind of maybe in a different routine. By then, probably in January, was back to normal, but still with that break, you just don't know. We don't know if teams go off form or whatever. Again, we don't know about us. Again, it could be totally different from that side. But say it could affect a lot of others as well, like you said. Tired says historically we lose matches in November and February. World Cup sorts out November. What can we do for February?
Well, to be honest, we're 100% record in November, but you can't
Look,
ask more than that.
I said this January run is going to be really big.
It's that January to March, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, that
That's
January
when your
period.
Christmas period kicks in. So this is where we find out, because let's be honest, we're normally not even in the running for in recent years for the league, or even top four by November. At the moment, we're in the running, and if we can keep in the running until March, and we get those new signings in, and like we integrate them cleverly, we'll be in a good position. And it's just a case of what we'll have to see what happens. I think we're in a good place. We've headed out into the World
Definitely.
Cup in a good place. Let's see what happens in the World Cup. Well, let's see how our players come back, fitness wise, mentally. What Arteta's plans are. I think we've got 2 friendlies, haven't we?
They're probably just a tick over, but
just to keep the fitness in and keep that, and then let's see what we can do as in January. What I'd hope is that we'd have those players in maybe by mid-January the latest, and we're not waiting until January the 31st to get the players in. That
Yeah,
would be that would be ideal. So that actually we've got the players in and they're ready to go pretty quickly, and it's not all all over and done with by the end of January.
yeah. So we have in January those three league games.
Yeah,
So Newcastle, Spurs, Man United. We then chuck in two FA Cup fixtures. So obviously we have to hope that they're fairly kind to us. I think on that side.
yeah. You'd
Um,
hope for a lower league team, wouldn't you?
yeah,
But
ideally, and then we
but
don't
this
have to
is
worry about it until March. And but that's the same with the Europa League as well. But February, going back to tired, we need to get results against Everton away,
which
Brentford at
you
home, Villa away, and Leicester away.
and
So
you yeah they're easy. They're February is a better run for us. I think I'd be looking at max points in that run. To be honest, I don't. Everton away. The toughest game there, I think, would be Leicester away.
no, I'd be saying Villa. I'd be saying Villa just from the
Well,
way
with Emery
with
in.
Emery. Emery probably will want to get one over on the club. So yeah, so I think probably he's probably got an axe to grind on that side. There's lots of answers in there for one way or the other, whether or not he should be or should have been given time or not. But yeah, maybe he's got to prove a point in the Premier League maybe. But it's going to be an interesting 12, 16 weeks now. I think
Yeah,
now for us, and yeah, where that ambition lies, we won't know until those kind of reports come in that we've signed someone or not.
yeah, and I also think it will when we get to those cup games and we see what squad he puts out against whoever we play, will tell us what his real targets are. Because I think if you draw a Premier League side and he goes like he did against Brighton, he's saying, I think I can win with his second string, but I'm more concerned about keeping the freshness for the Premier League.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I think when you look at priorities, I think that is obviously that number one,
And I
isn't it?
think if you're getting to the stage at the end of January, beginning of February, and you're still first or second, you've got to put your eggs in that basket and try and see if you can take topple City. And to be honest, they're still favourites. They're still title favourites. You can't say they're not because they've got the best squad in the league.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, the major changes to Arsenal since Wenger in the backroom staff and board, has this been a strategy by the Cronkies or just coincidence?
I
What do you
think
think?
it. I mean, it has been a strategy because they got was it Tim Lewis in, and he streamlined the club for them, and but the backroom staff isn't anything. That's just down to the new coaches that come in. They have people that they'll want in. There'll be a few that they might have, each coach might keep one or two, but they'll bring their own people in along with them. So the backroom staff is just coincidence down to whatever coach they brought in. Emery had his ones. Arteta handpicked his, and but the boardroom is down to the Kroenkes. It was planned. It was how can we restructure and make this streamline, and how can we make it more work more efficiently.
Yeah, I think they realised that obviously that Wenger was dealing with a lot of stuff outside what he should have been focusing on, because there was no one else there with a football brain to have done the jobs that he ended up taking after David Dean left. In all honesty, yeah, some of the stuff that he would kind of leave David Dean to kind of get sorted, he'd he'd be kind of filling them, and then you had Gazidis coming in, which was an absolute shambles, I think, and probably the worst commercial output of anyone that's come in. Yeah, just really poor. So yeah, had to have a restructure, and they knew that when that new person comes in, that he'd only be dealing with the coaching side of things and doing it that way. And then yeah, you had the scouting network getting taken down as well. So a lot's changed. I think it isn't just a coincidence. I think there's been a lot of probably cost cutting to streamline down. Certainly with COVID, that's probably had a big kind of focus. But everything else, I think, was just I think it's just a strategy to get it going, but to try and replace that big wise man that was Arsene Wenger. So sadly, he should have been still involved. In all honesty, 5 years, like before he probably left, he should have been offered that job up in the in the in the boardroom, and we wouldn't have been having this issue about him staying too long or not. But he would be offering that wise knowledge upstairs and being a part of Arsenal, because we've lost out in that knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
and what he could offer the youth teams as well.
Oh, everything. But that's it now. Sadly, should we have kept Sven?
No.
Yeah. Well, no.
He. What did he do for us? I think Edu's come in. Yeah, he made mistakes at the beginning, but he was new to that position, but he's learned. And the last window and bit have been very good, isn't it? And we're looking at last summer's and this summer's windows as a majority of the successes. I think you probably the only question marks would be Tavares and maybe Lokonga, but you can see there's a player in Lokonga.
Oh, it's through just like people like speaking about him. There's a player,
yeah.
But again, it's adaptability in the Premier League.
Yeah,
not for everyone.
And Tavares isn't a bad wing back. It's just that he doesn't suit the system we've got. So, but he will.
We don't really play with a direct proper wing back. Like I say, it'd be all right if we were played three at the back, because that would suit it. But
he will make us money.
Yeah, well, that's
if we decide to sell. So that's about how long has it been since we've really made any money off a player? I mean, Willock was probably the last, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's that was it.
Willock and Iwobi. Willock and Iwobi.
But for far too long, we got rid of our prized assets for peanuts. So yeah,
and it's the same. It's the same with Nketiah. Yes, we've given him a new deal and we paid him money, but
there's value.
He's got value. So is Balogun, and so we're now starting to, and that will continue hopefully.
Yeah. So this is going to be the final one here. It's tired. Would the Kroenkes give Dean and Wenger a role in Arsenal, even if it's an ambassador role? I think Dean's totally totally gone now. He's
Yeah,
in the, I didn't realise how old he actually is. Is it 80? Is he 82 or something? It's quite,
82, 83. He's got, but
yeah.
and I think too much water's passed for him,
Oh
hasn't
yeah,
it?
of course.
I don't think
So,
he would ever. It's and the question would be, would Wenger ever be able to forgive the way he was, because he was pushed. Let's be honest.
yeah,
He was pushed. It wasn't choice. The only choice he had was you either go and make it look as it was your choice, or you go and there's a sour and it's uglier than it needs to be.
yeah. No, that's it. That's good. All right. Well, yeah, we're going to wrap that up there.
Yes, 2 hours, isn't
Hour
it?
and 50 minutes today.
That's not
So
bad.
yeah, thank you, Richard, for coming on.
Anytime, mate. Know that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, really good to see you all in the chat, and yeah, good interaction and good questions. So yeah,
Yeah, keep
it's
it up.
it's now a World Cup break. We're not going to break though. We are going to be doing a few shows over the next couple of weeks. Definitely on Sundays, with maybe a midweek one as well. Maybe that we may do. Just going over general bits, and yeah, who knows? Who knows what happens? But stay tuned. Get subscribing to the channels in the North Bank and Cannon Fodder TV. I say really help everyone out. So yeah, click on the notifications as well so you don't miss any announcements. And yeah, you've been watching the big Sunday show. Thanks, Richard. And yeah, LeBray signing off. Getting ready for Christmas and looking forward to a good World Cup. So yeah, cheers.
And we are top of the league.
And yeah, top of the league. See you later, Gooners.